Hello everyone, Anthrage here. Today we're taking a look at Last Oasis. Last Oasis is currently in early access. It had its early access launch some time ago and had a few issues with their servers, backend, etc. They took everything down for 7 days, worked on it, and brought it back up recently, and I had to restart essentially. So here we see I'm out of the starting cradle. I am in one of the more distant oases, and I have parked my Firefly Walker a bit away, taken a position up on this high point, and looked around before I do any further exploring of these canyons, and I see a walker down there. It's a slightly larger walker than a Firefly. It looks like it might be a dinghy or something, and I don't know if you can tell, but you can actually see a tiny dot representing players down there fighting some of the mobs, the Rupu, at that little village. So one of the things that people encounter when playing these open world games, full loot PvP, is PvP, and some people aren't prepared for that. They find it overwhelming. They feel that they can't do anything without being griefed, etc. One of the things I found in almost every game of this type is that you can really reduce it to negative PvP or griefing by being cautious, being cautious, being prepared, and one of the ways you do that is by having situational awareness. So you notice something on the horizon, you don't just barrel in, you actually investigate first, gather information. You can see he's building a base of some kind down there. So that's something that I've found in pretty much every game, is that your experience is somewhat under your control, even if you're a solo player or you have a small group. If you're under geared or under leveled, assuming the mechanics of the game have been created with some logic or sense, there are ways that you can mitigate getting crushed. And in this particular example, it's simply a question of being careful. So I've established the position of the closest player here that I can see anyway, and I'm just gonna leave him alone for now and explore the area in the southern direction, I believe it is. So the game is early access, of course, and due to that there are some issues. One such issue is a hotspot bug on these mobs that you're trying to skin here. Trying different things to see what works best. It seems that if you can, don't move after first killing them, and you can sometimes harvest from that position. I've also noticed that aiming for something a bit away from the mob itself, the head or the tail, will sometimes work. In this case, obviously that wasn't so. But again, early access, these are things that are expected. They usually get cleaned up over time in early development. The game's visuals, while not astounding, and certainly not on my potato machine, they're still quite nice, quite atmospheric. They similar in some ways to Conan Exiles. They set the stage quite well. This post-apocalyptic landscape. The day-night cycle is really well done. Also, it's an issue in some games where it's nighttime and it's too dark, or it's not dark enough, or it's too long, etc. In the case of Last Oasis, it seems just right. Of course, some people get around that by upping their gamma and so on, but others play in a more immersive way and do not do that, and you have torches and some glow from your campfire to help you see. In a later video, you'll see I'm in a situation where I'm at a camp, a village with another player, not a friend, somebody I just encountered randomly, who we first fought each other, and then we kind of called a truce, but it's a shaky truce, and then night falls and you don't really know what this guy's intentions are, so it really accentuates the gameplay quite a bit. So I'm moving off to try and explore another branch here of this valley. You'll notice that that other walker had wings on it. Wings on a walker will help you by giving it more speed. The thing that you probably noticed also is that it makes it quite visible. I could see that thing quite far away. That's why I diverted up to the top to get a better look in the first place. And I have my wings retracted. Reduces my speed, but limits my being seen from a distance, and that's one of the things that's part of being cautious, right? You have to consider these things and your exposure to other players. You know, not being overwhelmed at certain stages of the game by PvP involves avoiding it, and you do that by being careful. So that's what I've done here. That mob that we just saw, it's a slightly higher level mob than the little rabbits or whatever the heck they are that you normally see. Fortunately, it appears to have been bugged. It didn't quite aggro me. I don't know. I haven't fought those yet, so I don't know how that would have went down, but I'm glad that it did not jump on me, so that's good. So one of the things about this game is that the terrain is varied, right? There are flat parts, slopes, bumpy parts, hills, valleys, mountains, etc. And how you navigate this really depends on what you're doing. So if you're on foot, you can go pretty much anywhere. You have your grappling hook thing that you can use to pull yourself up some cases and reach areas that you couldn't otherwise. If you're on a walker, that's going to depend largely on, I mean, your momentum obviously, but also what type of walker you have, properties when it comes to speed, mobility, and you know what kind of inclines they can handle. So in this case, I tried with not a lot of built-up speed to try and go up there. That didn't work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to retract my wings, or extend them rather. They've already retracted, and then hopefully I will have slightly more top speed and take a running attempt at it here, and I'll be able to hopefully get up above that incline. Again, having my wings out makes me somewhat more visible, as you can tell, especially since they're rather brightly colored in this case. Let's see how this works. Again, the game's in early access, so a lot of these things are in development, and they may change, they may be rough around the edges, but overall the gameplay experience is pretty damn fun so far, I have to say. Okay, success. So that worked. Now I'm going to go down this way because I saw something there on the map, but I'm going to retract my wings first. Again, this is caution, right? I could keep them on and just continue on a little bit and wait until I actually see somebody before putting them away. But I know someone's in the area, and I'm not going to take any chances. I don't know, you know, if it's one person, two people, etc. And sure enough, as soon as I put them away, that larger ship comes into view right behind me, where I'm pretty certain that if I had my wings out, he would have seen me. Whether they would have approached or attacked or not is a whole other story, but I mean, that's really the difference between a positive gameplay experience and a negative experience when it comes to being griefed or PvP'd too much. It's the little decisions you make. We saw this a lot in New World, for example, where there were a lot of complaints by players that they were PvP'd to an extreme extent, or they were griefed. And in my experience, you know, I played that game from the very beginning in its first test, and the famous Chinook beat me down pretty hard 3 or 4 times in a row in a short period, and it taught me what to do and what not to do to avoid that. And it really is possible in most cases, just by your own actions, to avoid that bad gameplay experience. In any case, crisis averted. Going to continue on, see what's what down here. Actually, I think, yes, so I did decide instead to go explore where they were, now that they've left, to see if they did indeed build a base, see what they were doing over there. In fact, if you look off to the left, you'll see their wings in the distance, the silhouette of their wings against the horizon. There we go. That helps me know that they're far enough out of the way. I'm safe to continue. So I'll continue these videos in a progression, you know, editing some things out, but I want to keep most stuff in just to show how much action there is, etc. I hope you enjoy it. Keep watching. More to come. Thanks for watching.